December the 19th, 2024. Guys, you're looking at an update on the videos we were talking about last night on this new House bill. And it's saying, call their bluff. This is Trump and Vance have slammed the support field bill, and they're telling the GOP to stand their ground. Don't be wimps like Mike Johnson. Mike got his butt handed to him over this deal, and what happened is that they tried to pass it through in just the last minute. 1,500 pages. Nobody would have time to read it, to investigate it, to look at the impacts of what something like that would do. So they allowed Mike Johnson to include a $100 billion disaster aid into this bill. The Democrats did. Why would they do that when they restricted FEMA from going in and helping people in the first place? Mike knew that he did not have enough Republican votes coming up in January the 3rd when they vote for a new speaker. I think it is 3rd or 4th, somewhere right in there, a couple of weeks away, that he would need Democratic votes to remain as a Republican speaker. Think about that. That's as creepy and as low down and backstabbing as you can get. This guy you're looking at was at the verge of betraying the country. Again, the second worst thing in line behind the Democrats staying in the White House for 4 more years. This guy's got to go. And he needs to, again, go to Walmart, try to get a job, whatever you need to do, Johnson. Get out of the swamp, because either that or just admit you're a Democrat and you're poison and get out of the Republican side. They're saying things are getting interesting now as House Speaker Mike Johnson from Louisiana is reportedly discussing a Plan B to fund the government as a clean continuing resolution, CR, without the $100 billion disaster aid and the below list of swampy handouts and government overreach. And that's exactly what's going on. And they're saying Democrats will, of course, throw a mega tantrum, which makes Friday's government shutdown more likely. Though, as you can see, as of this writing, the odds are currently 35% that it will happen. It went from 14 to 35%. So it would be better to let it shut down than to add all the support to it. They knew back in September that they had gotten to the point of maxing out their debt limit. They continue spending, and Biden's throwing everything into the fire he can find, or whoever's running it. And most people are admitting it now that Trump is actually running the country, and he's the one calling the shots here. There's a couple of interesting videos coming out this morning that I'm going to link to below this video, guys, so you can watch that and get a better view of what I'm trying to talk about here. But this statement came from Trump and Vance. The most foolish and inept thing ever done by congressional Republicans was allowing our country to hit the debt ceiling in 2025. It was a mistake and is now something that must be addressed. Meanwhile, Congress is considering a spending bill that would give sweetheart provisions for government censors. That's another big hunk of money was going to go to, what's the GEC or something like that anyway, government censorship. We were going to fund that with our money so they could spy on us. And Liz Cheney, of course. The bill would make it easier to hide the records of the corrupt January 6th committee, which accomplished nothing for the American people and hid security failures that happened that day. And the bill would give Congress a pay increase while many Americans are struggling. Guys, I think it was 40 or 45% pay increase. Imagine that. That should be illegal. Increasing the debt ceiling is not great, but we'd rather do it on Biden's watch. If Democrats won't cooperate, now I'm reading, on the debt ceiling now, what makes anyone think they would do it in June during our administration? Let's have this debate now, and we should pass a streamlined spending bill that doesn't give Chuck Schumer and the Democrats everything they want, especially the amnesty against them getting any trouble for being the biggest traitors in the world. Republicans want to support our farmers, pay for disaster relief, and set our country up for success in 2025. The only way to do that is with a temporary funding, but without Democrat giveaways combined with an increase in the debt ceiling. Anything else is a betrayal of our country, and that's what I'm talking about. Traitors. Johnson has got to go. He's got to get out of the swamp. And they wanted to put millions into rebuilding a football or baseball stadium in D.C., guys. I think maybe RFK Jr., I don't know what it was, big stadium there. And we're trying to drain the swamp, not put more money, billions of dollars in there to build a stadium. Redo your roads. Anybody been there lately? Not only that, the swamp needs to just go away. Do like Trump was talking about, put the offices near the places they're needed most. Put the Border Patrol head of all of that down along the border and up into Canada. Get the swamp emptied out. Because if you think about millions and millions to rebuild a stadium in D.C., how much grift is going to go around that circle for the big guy and others? Think about it, man. When they say that we want to build something in the swamp, it's that they want to get as much money and build a piece of crap as they can. Republicans must get smart and tough. If Democrats threaten to shut down the government unless we give them everything they want, then call their bluff. It is Schumer and Biden who are holding up aid to our farmers and disaster relief. Exactly. They wanted to tie that in there so they could get pardoned. We couldn't be investigated or anything else. This was Mike Johnson. You are a big a traitor as any of Schumer or Pelosi or any of those. Either get out of politics or go ahead and put that blue hat on and step across that aisle. And we'll know. At least you'll be honest. Now, this update, it says the new spending package isn't just riddled with pork as detailed below. It's packed full of weaponized pork. For starters, it gives the Global Engagement Center, the GEC, the government censorship juggernaut, additional funding. This 1,547-page funding bill includes an extension of the Global Engagement Center, a massive contributor within the censorship industrial complex who pressures social media companies to censor Americans. What were you thinking, Mike? The bill would extend their existence for another 9 years, back to where if Vance gets 4 years after Trump, then it would come into back to a Democratic run government. What are we doing here? This is Mike Lee. Senator Mike Lee said the CRBS, on the heels of the report that the DOJ obtained the emails of Schiff and Swalwell proving they leaked classified documents to the media, Congress has inserted language into the continuing resolution allowing it to quash any subpoena for the crooks. And Mike Johnson, sorry guys, what is wrong with this dude? It also contains language that allows Congress to block the subpoenas for House data, which could prevent an investigation in the January 6th committee. Not only that, now I will link to this article also, but look at this. They wanted to fund 12 more bioweapon labs as part of the spending bill. That's crazy. Vivek and Elon has weighed in. They're saying they wanted to read the full 1,500-page bill and speak with key leaders before forming an opinion. Having done that, here's my view. This is, again, from Elon, I think. It's full of excessive spending, special interests, giveaways, and pork barrel politics. If Congress wants to get serious about government efficiency, they should vote no, of course. Keeping the government open until March 14th will cost $380 billion by itself. But the true cost of this, omnibus CRs far greater due to new spending. They're increased it, say for every dollar they've added 65 cents to that dollar. Almost doubling it. Not quite, but 65 cents on the dollar. Renewing the farm bill for an extra year, $130 billion. Disaster relief, $100 billion. Stimulus for farmers, $10 billion. All of that money the Democrats don't care about. They're going to waste it anyway, but that would get them out of going to prison. That's what this is all about. And they're going to put in money for the Francis Scott Key Bridge, which needs to be done, $8 billion, I think, on that. But pass the clean bill on this lame duck session and let the new administration add or take away from all of this. It needs to be stopped now, but it's all of this money that people are saying we need it. No, you don't need it as bad as you need to get these politicians out of there. Because if, say, the farmers were to get this, then, which I think they will, and they need it. Because if they don't, guys, they're in a position with all the clampdowns that have been coming on them for the last 4 years of having to sell their farms, and who's buying it up? Creeps, foreign countries. And I'll end it with this part, guys. It says Congress has known about the deadline, like we talked about, since they created it in late September. There's no reason why this couldn't have gone through the standard process. Instead of being rushed to a vote right before the congressmen want to go home for the holidays, puts urgency on to get the vote, let's get out of here, or they're going to force us to stay in D.C. for the holidays. And so they'll give away their souls just to get to go home for Christmas. And another thing, guys, all the timing of the way they do this needs to stop. Why would you vote on major things during a holiday period? Simply to entice or to force a vote to make people say, I'll go, I'll sign it, whatever, let's just get out of here, I'm sick. D.C., let's get out. And that's a problem. Don't do the timings at the critical points. If you're going to have to vote in a spending bill, don't do it when you're about to go into recess and force that. Common sense needs to be put in place here. And Elon tweeted yesterday, or X'd, I guess you could say it. He said, the more I learn, the more obvious it becomes that this spending bill is a crime. And it is. That's how this needs to be looked at, Johnson. I think Angola would be a good place for you if you keep this up. It even includes funding for the worst illegal censorship operation in the entire government. Think about that. And Johnson, a so-called Republican, was about to throw the entire nation, and where we go, a lot of times other nations follow. But he was about to throw us completely under the bus. He's got to go. He cannot be left in place. That vote's coming up on, I think, January 3rd or 4th again. Guys, make sure you make the calls, you folks in Louisiana and everywhere else. Mike Johnson's got to go. It don't matter if it's Gitmo, just do it, right? We have temporarily dodged a deadly bullet. You guys keep your heads up. Keep our Father in heaven in your minds, because he is the one that's going to guide you through this times. It's a heads up. Be safe.